It's time for my favorite part, your favorite part. That's right, it's time for a rant from Mr. Razörfist. Mr. Razörfist, will you tell me, what about this Feinstein cunt?
Mainly, I'm going to deal with the hypocrisy, frankly, in the media coverage. I mean, it drives me up the wall. Actually, shit, late last year when that handful of neocon cuntbags in the NRA went ahead and pointed to video games as a breeding ground for gun violence, I remember, I was actually on the podcast, I remember offhandedly quipifying that, if they were a Democrat rather than a Republican, this story would have received like 1/10 as much media coverage. And I hate to say I told you so, but I don't, and I fucking did. Literally, the only two video game media outlets that actually reported the fact that this shrew was not only calling for an end to video game violence, calling them murder simulators, but overtly threatening that Congress may take direct action to curtail their production, which, by the way, is about 5 times more severe of rhetoric than anything the NRA spokespuppets had yanked from their rectal passages, If I remember correctly, the only 2 places to report this were GameSpot and IGN. I mean, that's it. Not Kotaku, certainly, as we can only assume someone at Kotaku East had spotted a used panty dispensary that week, or not Destructoid. Sterling was far too busy. I mean, he's been flapping his 5 chins about misogyny because, controversy-related ad revenue. Not Joystick, I'm sure. They were far too busy handing out 9 out of 10 scores in exchange for $100,000 handshakes. Look, I made my point. My point was proven correct, and yes, I am fucking gloating. Leftist gamers wanted to support feel-good legislation outlawing assault weapons to hoodwink themselves into believing that that will somehow curtail the tide of mass violence, even as the Boston Marathon suffered a lethal bombing in the same week that a man armed with a fucking box cutter went on a mass stabbing rampage on a college campus. Look, I'll just say this. Good luck getting the government to stop there, motherfucker. They are coming for your fucking video games, and that is a fact. You give the government an inch, they will take that mile every fucking time. Dianne Feinstein, the fucking brood mother from San Francisco, is just one mouthpiece of dozens, because it isn't about guns. It isn't about violence in media. It's about seizing control from the individual and giving to a government that has already demonstrated staggering incompetence administrating what little undeserved authority it already wields. I mean, if you don't believe me, spend an afternoon in the DMV sometime. It's like a third world airport terminal, except all the flights lead to the unemployment line. There's no picking and choosing in this matter as far as I'm concerned. You either believe you're capable of making decisions for yourself, or you don't. It's abundantly clear what side of the argument our president stands on. After all, he's had Vice President Joe Biden forming a clean video games task force since fucking January. It's a preposterously short walk from the nanny state to the warden state, and both end with a defenseless populace being told what entertainment is governmentally sanctioned. Fuck our president, fuck Joe Biden, fuck Dianne Feinstein, fuck pious gasbag like Jim Sterling for supporting this asinine horseshit and starting us down this slippery slope, and fuck each and every addle-brained fucking fool who honestly believes that surrendering any control to our government is going to stem the tide of violence in any material regard. I'm Razörfist, your mother is a whore.